All right, we're live. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the stream. We're here with Jeff Galewood. I'm gonna play a song or two, and then we'll be live with the entertainment, of course. BRB. We'll be right back, guys.
Did you mute me, Joe? I unmuted
myself. I muted you. I muted you because I'm playing two songs. We already have 10. We already have 10 viewers. I just started stream. Simmer down.
All right. You good? So nobody's watching yet, and nobody can see me.
There's 10 people watching you. No, they can't see you yet. No.
Okay. All right. I gotta get a water. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm gonna mute you. All right. See you. Bye. This guy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to HOGOUT. Joe here from HOGOUT, of course. How you guys doing? We're doing a live stream here. I felt like, let me do a live stream here with my favorite Hognose breeder, my favorite dude I like talking to is Jeff Galewood. Mr. Jeff Galewood, how are you doing, my friend? What's going on? Oh, I muted you. Oh, my God. I got to unmute you, dude. Unmute. There we go. What's going on, dude?
All right, hey, Joe.
What's going on?
I said I'm doing well. I think you're doing, well too, because I seen you got a very nice Hognose clutch recently. 22X. Congratulations,
dude. Thank you very much, dude.
One.
I'm really excited, man. That was a big one for me, man. So
very big one, especially for your first year, because some people don't hit into 20s right away.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude. And they were all fertile too, man. Very nice pearly white eggs, man. No windows, no nothing. They were all pearly white, man. I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. Yep, that's probably supplementing well and all that. So yeah.
I hope. Oh, Jesus Christ. But we're in Jeff's Hognose room here, guys, and you're doing a little feeding or no?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna be going back and forth. Since this was kind of intro, I figured I'd sit down. Some of the mice on the one side are still a little cool, so I'm gonna let them warm up a bit. The larger pinks took a little longer to thaw out, and then the small mediums are mostly ready. And I gotta get a cup of water for the dipping and etc.
All right, what are you doing? Are you in the middle of brumation now, or are you in the middle of pairing? What are you doing?
Over.
You're all over the place, right?
Yeah, most are actually in brumation. Actually, some entering brumation. Because I still have quite a few babies from 2022, and I am awaiting on some for shipping and stuff. And then I got some expos coming up, and after that, I should have a more suppressed amount, or it's probably not. But anyway, I'll have more room, and then I'll bring my adults out of brumation, and I'll be breeding some of them a little later than the previous year, probably about a month and a half later. And I have some that are coming out of brumation now, but it's a smaller wave of females and their particular projects. And soon I should be breeding around like 40, 50 females, like probably the next few weeks.
What do you do a year for females breeding? Like 100, 200?
Well, every year is different. Last year was somewhere around there. It was like, I think, a little over 200 females.
Holy shit. How many eggs, dude? Seriously, a year do you produce?
Well, every year is different. Last year was by far
average. Let's talk about average last 5 years.
Last 5 years, I was probably always between 700 and then into like kind of almost 2,000 range. But usually I'm probably more around like 1,500. Like 1,500 would probably be like my median average. 1,500.
Jesus Christ. And you have no problem selling these every year, I would think, right?
No. People love Hognose.
Yeah, I know Hognose has been taken off. Like people buying Hognoses has really have been doing good.
They've always been taken off. It's just kind of sometimes there's some like somewhat downswings where people just don't realize that these are like one of the best snakes, and they're just ignorant. And ignorant is not meant to be
true.
Not meant to be derogatory, but just means not knowing. And so now that you kind of have social media and people are really seeing all the diverse color mutations and the projects you can do, and there's such a fun, unique species
and their personalities are just amazing, dude. Each individual one has a personality. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. As far as snakes go, I mean, it's kind of like they're kind of like the
pinnacle.
Yeah, I was about to say that exact word, actually. Pinnacle of all the species of snakes, in my opinion. There's some people, of course, they're more into other species.
I think when you see boas and pythons, you're like, yeah, okay, they move a little bit, but hognoses, they move around, they crawl up on you. I'm like some of my hognoses, I'll like walk in the room and like right away they see me and they go up on the glass. They want me to open the glass. So when I open up the terrarium, dude, they crawl right up on my hand, dude. They just like seeing me. It's crazy. I posted a few videos and a couple shorts on YouTube about that, and it's just amazing their personalities, dude. It's crazy, and you can train them. I mean, like if you have a baby hognose that's like really pissy and hisses at you, like hold them like for 5 minutes every couple days, and they'll get used to you, man. They'll definitely change their personality a little bit towards you. Yeah, some do. Some do. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Some do. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all different. That's the thing. They're kind of like unpredictable. Certain ones will do certain things, and because I've had hognose. The one thing about real defensive hognose like that, though, like in my experience, most of them stay pretty defensive. And I've actually had some that hatched out that weren't that defensive, and they become more defensive with age. But the one thing that is pretty, common with ones like that, if you hold them and you pick them up fairly often, they'll still behave like that for the initial kind of like interaction, but as soon as you pick them up, within seconds they're calmed down. Yeah. And every now and then they might let out a hiss, but I'd have some that would just cobra up at me and just hiss and go nuts. And if I picked them up within 3 seconds, then they would be like, okay.
100%. Yeah, that's what I experienced too as well. Okay. Like, yeah, as soon as you open up their terrarium or their tub, they're like hissing at you, and then when you pick them up, like you said, after 30 seconds, 20 seconds, they're pretty cool. But
it's pretty quick.
Yeah, I guess that's why they're becoming very popular in the last like 4, 5, 6 years. But nice room, dude. How many racks, dude? How many racks do you have? Like $3,000, 3,000? Jesus Christ.
As far as that, can hold babies. Yeah, I have spots actually for about 3,000 babies, and then I have spots for like I don't know how many subadults. And I have more adult racks coming. I he probably have like around like 36, 38 rack systems.
No shit. All right, I want to talk to you about something right now, and especially what you just, entered was with my Hognose laying 22 eggs. Now, this is the female I was talking to you about on the phone, where I didn't confirm a lockup over the first 3 weeks. No lockup that I know of. Okay, so after 44 days, she had a pre-lay shed, or not a pre-lay shed, an ovulation shed. I would think it was an ovulation shed. But she was on the cool side for the most part when she came out of brumation. And like you said to me, hey, Joe, it could be a month, maybe 5 weeks before they have an ovulation cycle.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk to you about that with her specifically. Now, she came out of brumation on December 4th. Normal temperatures at December 6th. And her first pairing was on 12/23 in a tub. I didn't confirm it. Now, I let them pair up for 3 days, take them out, 2 days, feed them, put them back in 3 days. And I did that like 3 or 4 times over 3 weeks. Now, I did not confirm a lockup with those two, with the one I'm talking about that laid 22 eggs yesterday. Now, the lock that I did confirm was 44 days after normal temperatures, and that was on January 19th. Now, she had an ovulation shed, or I think it was an ovulation shed the day before. Now, all these eggs were fertile on the 20th, or yesterday, right? So now, as I look at this, and I'm looking at my, the dates here. Now, her pre-lay shed was on 2/23. Now, if she did have that ovulation shed, Jeff, that was on 1/16 or 1/18. So that was almost 32 days or 33 days after. What's your thoughts on that? So do you think that was an ovulation shed, ovulation
Well,
shed?
it's definitely a shed associated with her egg follicle development.
Okay.
And as they're developing egg follicles, that takes a lot of cellular growth. And so a lot of times they can sometimes have a shed associated with that. Now it's known as an ovulation shed, but ovulation, like is takes place when the actual fertilization is happening.
Correct.
So with the time frame you gave me, you can actually very closely deduce exactly when her ovulation date was. And like I said, their gestation period for the time of ovulation is right around 30 days. Now, I say around 30 days because there probably is a few day wiggle room based on the snake's metabolism, based on how they metabolize. Are they at cooler temps, warmer temps? But
so this was 31 days from her ovulation shed to her
pre-lay shed.
So 31 days.
Now, when you
exactly.
say pre-lay shed, do you mean the actual date that she shed out?
She shed out. Yep. Bingo. Yep.
Yeah. So that's like basically, I would say that the ovulation shed, this egg follicle associated shed there, was probably occurred around roughly 10 days before she ovulated. So she was probably just starting to develop egg follicles. Her body, went into shed. And a lot of times, like the females and males, they're not really receptive for breeding, although the females being receptive, the males going after her. Like I said, sometimes they will breed in shed, but it's pretty uncommon. It's more common. I don't think I've seen maybe only 1 or 2 females ever lock up while in shed. And it's easier to get them to lock up in shed when they first start going into shed versus being deep in shed, or even a couple days from shedding out. Yeah. That's a little less common once they get to the point where their shed is about done and their new skin is pretty much formed, they will actually be receptive at that time. And that actually is a huge indicator, and actually shows you that hognose naturally prefer an instinctive preference to not lock up while in shed, because you wouldn't believe how many hognose I've put together and they're in shed. And I do that because they're going to be shedding in a few days. They won't do anything. And then as soon as that shed breaks, the female, as soon as the shed starts coming off, she'll actually usually let the male lock up with her. I've actually had like 3 occurrences where the male was locked up with the female and the shed rolled down to her vent, but it's kind of stuck there because the male's inside her. And then once they're done and finished, she'll shut off the rest of the way. I've also seen males break their sheds. As soon as their shed's ready to come off, as soon as they're ready to molt, they'll lock up with the female, and the first break in the shed will be right at their joint, right where that right at their vent, because they're locked up, and that bend and everything and all that movement actually twists off the shed in that area. And it's funny, one time I actually went with just a strong hunch because I was like, yeah, they had to have bred. I had a sunburst that was in shed and I put it with a female. This was years ago. And then the next day, the male wasn't showing interest. So that's one big clue. A lot of times once the male breeds the female, there's not much interest. A lot of times he'll lose interest or right after. And even days later, sometimes won't show interest. Sometimes they will. A lot of times they lose interest though. But when I opened up the tub, his shed was perfect, except it was broken 2 pieces and it was right at the ventral. I was like, well, he's not showing interest in her anymore. He's all over. And the shed's broke right there. And I never put him back in and she laid a perfect clutch. So, that shed and everything is a really good indicator, like for receptiveness. Not an indicator, but if you have a female going in the shed and it's right around breeding time, as soon as he sheds out, definitely get a male in there because they're ultra receptive around that time.
Awesome, yo. That's why I did it, man. Because you know what? Like I was talking to you, I was like, dude, I couldn't confirm her lock. I was checking on him, and she wasn't receptive to the males for like 3 weeks. For like 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks. But she was on the cool side of the terrarium. But then I put them in the tubs, where of course the warmth is there. I'm like thinking, like just let me put them in there. I didn't confirm it, of course. Now, like you just said, like she came out of the shed. And the next day, I was like, listen, if this is an ovulation shed, she's ovulating, let me get the males in there. Within an hour, they locked right away. And I was just like, all right, cool. She was very receptive. But as I was checking the tub the first 3 weeks, I was like, she wasn't receptive. She wasn't like, I could see they were like having their action. They were, they were twitching and all that. And I'm just like, and he was surfing her. And I was just like, dude, she wasn't receptive for those like first 3 weeks. Now, I think. What do you think the possibility of like my first male maybe locking in those first 3 weeks, and maybe was it a coincidence that after her ovulation shed that next day that my other male locked up? Now, what do you think? Can it be a 50-50 there or?
Well, you can get double-sided clutches easily. I've gotten a decent amount of double-sided clutches over the time I've been breeding hognose. Generally, the funny thing is, every time I've seen a double-sided clutch, it's generally always high percent one male's offspring and low percent the other males. And I've actually seen it where I've had like around 12, 15, 16 babies, and like 2 or 3 from the one male, and the rest are from the other. The more dominant sperm or the sperm that was.
So if you have heads, dude, that's probably. If you have heads, dude, that's probably a pain in the ass to figure out, right?
Well, when you do that, like I never double sire ones where it's going to be like a real fuck up if I don't know which male.
right.
Locked. So you could use,
in my case,
you could use morphs. Like let's say you wanted to actually do a one, which I actually did. Like say you have like a sable conda, and then like sable conda, and then the other male is a super arctic. Or even a super Arctic conda, you'll know because all the offspring will be Arctic if it was a super Arctic, and then if you have some babies that aren't Arctic, but then you can have those ambiguous ones where people are like, hey, you know what, this one was like a kind of, is this one actually an Arctic? But in most cases, if you've been breeding them for a little while and you've seen a good share of Arctics, you can discern them pretty easily as long as they're fairly decent expression Arctics, which most are.
Yeah, I got the Arctics pat down, dude. They're pretty easy to identify when you get to know them. But
some are. I wouldn't go that far. Some are kind of tough,
really. Man. Well, as they get older, right? I think it's easier, right?
Yeah, for certain ones. I mean, I had like getting red phase into them really kind of like disrupts, and doesn't really disrupt, but it like kind of masks the Arctic in the way where you're adding extra pigmentation. And that extra pigmentation then can be converted to like reddish, tannish colors and browns. And I
totally understand that, dude. I'm talking about a normal to an Arctic. I'm like when they pair, it's pretty easy to understand.
Those are very easy to tell apart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about like a lavender or like a sable or anything like that. I'm not talking about that, but.
I was talking about normals too, though, but just polygenics, just like a reddish phase one. Sometimes they don't have to be that.
Yeah, the polygenics.
I have seen some kind of normalish clutches of Arctics where there was like some more brownish ones, and they're kind of tough to tell apart. But they're usually not. But that's that's something else because we were just kind of talking about double-sided clutches. Then we got into identifying Arctics and how hard it is to identify them.
Freaking amazing.
If you want to use 2 males, generally you'll use. Sometimes I'll double-sire or potentially double-sire where I use identical males, so I don't know which one's actually the father if I didn't observe a lock. Let's say I use two different sunbursts, and then I'll just write those two males on the tag as being a potential fathers. Or I use two Arctic sable head albinos. But if I use like sunburst Conda and then a super Arctic sable, I'm going to know which ones typically are the father. And I did that with a clutch, and it was really easy to tell that the super Arctic sable fathered the clutch.
Yeah, great. Oh, my thing just said upgrade. Or by the way, we had this problem last time when Zoom cuts out. I'll send you another link on Instagram so you can come back in. All right.
Oh, we're gonna do that shit again?
Yeah, fucking right. But it is what it is. All right. Another question I have for you. Pairing. Now, I've talked to a couple other breeders besides you, Jeff, and I know what you do. Now, when it comes to pairing, you can keep on doing what you do because I know you can hear me and we can hear you. Pairing, like I've talked to a couple other breeders, including you, and people say, like, listen, when your hognose snakes come out of brumation, the males and females, when they come out of brumation, 3-day warm up. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 3 normal temperatures, 82 to 86 degrees or 84 degrees. And some breeders I talk to say, listen, I try to feed after 2 days after that. After warm temperatures, 2 days after that, and I pair on the 4th and 5th day. I try to pair that quick. And I try to pair until I confirm at least 2 lockups. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, here's the thing. There's different ways to do it. Like, hognose aren't the toughest species to breed.
No.
If you have healthy, good, clean hognose snakes, they're really not that tough. I mean, the thing is, my experience is a little bit like what you observed with yours with a lot of my females. If you try to feed them like 2 days afterwards and 4 days later, it's like, how is this snake developing egg follicles out of brumation in a matter of a few days? Unless you were doing warmer brumation temps, or if you're bringing them out of cool down and doing a warm up, like kind of staging. They're probably that method. I know what that method is basically. I don't know anybody that's told me exactly why I do it, but I can understand the logic behind it. And the logic would be you don't want to miss any, ovulation.
Ovulation cycle,
because if a female ovulates and you're getting a male in after the ovulation, you're not going to get good eggs. She already ovulated. Unless you somehow get the male in there as she's ovulating, and she can, the female gets bred during the ovulation process, and then sometimes you can barely, sneak in there and, get the, female fertilized. But, generally I'm pairing like 2 weeks after brumation, because if you do a nice hard brumation, their metabolism's completely slowed down. They're not developing egg follicles unless they already had some starting to develop while staging to be put into brumation in the fall, or the simulated fall in this case, because I don't know when this.
That's what I did this year was 2 weeks. So 2 weeks I paired them all.
About 2 weeks, but you'll even notice, like, I have some out of brumation right now. They've been out of brumation for like 2 weeks, and most of them still don't want to lock up or do anything.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I can actually feel the female's belly and go down and feel that there's no egg follicle development or growth yet. Now, it also depends on the temperatures you keep them at, because again, hognoses, just ectothermic, like, reptiles, in general, well, all reptiles are ectothermic, but I was going to say one and then I said both. But anyway, their whole metabolism is based off of their temperatures they're thermoregulating at. Yeah. So in the wild, their egg follicle growth is taking a lot longer, and they have a larger window to actually be bred because they're at cooler temps. If you have them in a warm, room, and then your hot spot's like 86, 88 right away, you can develop egg, or trigger egg follicle development much quicker. So again, their whole metabolism is based off the temperature. So if you put them right in your rack and you have them like 88 degrees, real warm, that one's going to develop egg follicles way faster.
That was my big mistake last year, Jeff. My big mistake last year. And that's what happened. I had them at like 86 to 90 degrees coming out of brumation last year, my first year breeding. And when I did that, like my one, Rosie, she had 22 eggs. They were all infertile. Nothing. And its reason being is like she locked up, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks out of brumation. I didn't even attempt to fucking have them lock up before that. But I had them at like 88, 90. So that's when I talked to you, like probably like a month or two ago when I talked to you. You're like, Joe, no, that's too high, 86, 80. Keep it at like 82, 84, 83. Keep them there, especially when they're laying their eggs. Keep it around 80 to 81 degrees. And you know what? Laying eggs this year, when it came to my females, when the Ray laid her eggs, I kept it at like 80, 81. Like that day you told me, actually, the day you told me, Jeff, I had it at 84, 85 degrees in her lay box. And you're like, Joe, no. Just drop down to 80, 81, 82 degrees most. And as soon as I lifted up that heat lamp and I, infrared it, it was 80, 81. As soon as I said that to you, dude, within like 4 hours, she was laying her eggs. I was just like, I don't know if that's a coincidence, but it was. Yeah, I think so too. But it was just weird. Like if the temperatures are too high, it was just like a little weird to me. But now I know. Now this year I didn't keep the temperatures high. I kept them 82 to 84, like in a terrarium in their tubs. Like I keep them in their tubs. As soon as they freaking like are ready to have their like pre-lay shed, I put them in the tubs because it regulates it perfectly. So 84, 83 degrees, perfect. That's it. When they have their pre-lay shed, I put them in a terrarium with the lay box. Keep it at 81, 82 degrees, 83 degrees at the most. And you know what? I had no problem this year, man. So pretty happy with that. So, but I record all this stuff. So I record everything, all the temperatures. I record everything. So, but it worked very well this year. So pretty happy. 34 eggs so far this year, Jeff, without double clutches.
Nice. Yeah, those people just keep them fed up, and a lot of times, they.
Yeah. Oh no, I fed the one that laid last. The one that laid yesterday, 22 good eggs. Mm-hmm. I fed her this morning with a nice large mouse, dude. And she took it right away. So
good. Yeah. Once they lay, you can start feeding them like immediately.
Yeah, that was late. Yes. Well, I think it was late afternoon. She laid the last one. So I said, I'll put her in the tub with a little water. I think she drank the water, actually. So I woke up this morning around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I gave her a nice large mouse, dude, and she ate it right away, dude. So I was pretty excited about that. That was pretty cool. So, Jeff, you got any, you aiming for any world first this year, or what's the deal, man? What do you got going on?
Oh, world first this year? I don't really think about it in terms of that, though. So
I do.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not, actually. I'll have to think about it more. I'm trying to. I got some Swiss chocolate stuff I'll make, but
oh yeah, that's what I'm to ask you about. Swiss chocolates, dude. Are you doing those? Yeah, you got a few, yes. Right? Nice.
Yeah, I got a few.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll probably produce some Arctic and Conda Swiss this year.
Now, did you produce the Swiss, or did you get them from the guy from Europe?
Well, I had to buy them from him initially, so okay. But I produced some of my own this season.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
And actually I was selling some this year, past year, and even, beginning of this year and end of last year, I sold
now,
a few.
What are the traits on the Swiss chocolate or the Morse? What is that?
Well, it's a simple recessive. Mostly what people notice firsthand when looking at them is they're pretty similar looking to that of a sable.
Correct.
And they do kind of work in a similar manner, but they definitely affect the pigment cells differently, and they accelerate pigment cells, just like sable and Swiss both enhance chromatophore production. And the most dominant chromatophore is melanin. So you're seeing an abundance of melanin. And just because any accelerating gene doesn't mean it has to accelerate simply melanin. There can also obviously be like xanthic animals or hyperxanthic mutations, which are more rare. And there can be other color enhancing traits that don't really affect the melanin as much as other qualities that you'll see. But with these, you're seeing influx of melanin. It changes their iridophores, and then you're seeing some definitely some boosts of yellow and red pigmentation to a degree, just like sable. But it seems to be a little different on the Swiss. And the Swiss, their background is a little more pixelated looking. They have that solid head mask. They're definitely different. They're not allelic. And it's a pretty cool trait. It's definitely, some of the combinations look similar to sable combos.
Nice, dude. Yeah. All right. I'm going to be buying a few. Are you going to be selling any adults this year or no? By the way, guys.
Adults?
By the way, I need to talk to people right now in the chat. Guys, I am super tired. I had 8 hours sleep in the last freaking 2 nights because of Autumn laying her eggs and all that stuff. So I'm really tired, so I'm not going to be too up with it. But Jeff, what did I just say to you again? I forget.
You asked if I was going to. Did you ask if I was going to have adults available?
Yeah, to sell.
Adult what? What morph?
I don't know, dude. I have no idea what I want to do next year. I want to do. I actually, you know what? I want to do some lavenders and sables next year.
Okay.
Preferably
Stuff.
Arctic lavenders or Arctic sables. One day.
Okay.
So you hook me up?
Yes.
Probably in the next 4 or 5 months, I'll hook you up.
Okay.
All right, cool beans. All right, Jeff. We're ready to end here on the Zoom. So I got to reintroduce. I got to send you the new link. Okay, great. They just kicked them out. Unfreaking believable, guys. As soon as I said I gotta send you a new link, he's like, what? Yeah, dude. Hold on, guys. Give me a second here. Oh my god, I hate Zoom, dude. I might as well just get the paid version, but whatever. All right, I'll play some music as I add Jeff again. Unbelievable. I hate Zoom. Zoom totally sucks. Let me send this invite link against Jeff. Jeff's probably like, what the fuck's going on, bruh? All right, let me get Jeff back in here, guys. Give me a second here. How you guys doing? All right. Any questions, guys? Hit me up with any Q&As. Any questions? Is that the aspect of Zoom? Yeah, it is, dude. Well, you got to do the paid version. It's like freaking like $20, $30, whatever it is. But it is what it is. I do have Discord. Of course, we do have a Hognose, HOGOUT Discord community. I could probably do that. I know Jeff is on that, but I've never tested it out yet. But yeah, maybe next live stream we could do that. No doubt. So guys, I'm just extremely tired. Amy Barrett, for me, best to buy babies and raise them up. Yeah, same here. I'm the same way. Yeah, that's what I do. Well, my three females I bred this year, man. I had them since they were babies, so it's been like 2.5 years. So, all right, let me get Jeff in here. There he is. All right, there's Jeff, guys. He's here. He's good to go. And we hate Zoom. Jeff, somebody was just telling me in chat that we should try out like Discord video. Oh, why are you not here, dude? You gotta unmute, Jeff. Unmute. Hello. We can't hear you, Jeff. We can see you, but we can't hear you. All right. Nope, you're good. Jeff Galewood is connecting to audio and can't hear you yet. That's great. Thanks, Zoom. Yeah, we might try that Discord thing. I'm super freaking tired. I gotta wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Jeff, you gotta hit connect. No. You good? Jeff? No. Hello? You there? All right, we're waiting for Jeff to come in. Pretty not good. Not good, guys. No. Discord is great. Yeah, we gotta do Discord, of course, but we can't hear Jeff yet. I'm waiting for it. Jeff's like, screw this freaking Zoom shit. Hello? Jeff, dude. We should just watch Jeff, dude, feed his hognoses. That's great. Oh my god. What is going on here, dude? Jeff? Hello? Jeff? He's like, screw this, dude. Yeah, it's hilarious, dude. Everything's good. Hello, Jeff? Connect. I gotta hit him up with Discord. Connect audio. There you go. Tap it, dude. You good? No, we're good. Jeff. There we go. Yeah, there we go. You just had to press a button. We're good.
Oh, all right. Hi. How long have you been sitting there?
Only a couple minutes, dude. I was messing with you on, with chat, dude, or messing with you
Okay.
with chat. So, how many Hognose you got to feed tonight? About?
I only got 200 mice thawed out, so right around 200.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Some will get double fed.
Dude, I'm not looking forward to like 40. Like, geez, 200 in one night. Amazing.
Well, if you get double clutches, I think you're gonna have more than 40.
Yeah, I know that. Of course, I know that. But like I said to you, I got to buy another rack system from my sponsor, Black Box Cages. So I'm gonna buy another rack system from them, and then buy another incubator, of course.
All right, nice.
But yeah, more expenses. It's another $1,500 or $1,200 or whatever. But
that's what it is. A lot of reinvesting.
Hey, you gotta do with that. You gotta do what you gotta do. I already invested like 10 grand, 10 grand in this. So, what's your favorite? I don't know if there's a favorite with you. What's your favorite snake right now, or favorite morph?
Favorite morph? Man, that's a tough one.
Right now, as of now, like not like yesterday or 10 years ago, or
just like today.
Yeah, today. What's your favorite morph? What's the one that's selling hot?
Well, I don't base it off of well, that's two separate questions. Because what's selling hot?
Yeah, I know, Jeff. That's why I gave you two questions. Come on.
Yeah, Hognose in general. I mean, they all sell. The only things that kind of take a little slower to sell is kind of maybe your normal Arctic males and stuff like that. And those are being sold, as pets pretty much.
Thanks, great dude.
Great
news for me.
Yeah, well, my favorite Hognose right now, I've been really into my Purple Lemon Ghost Extreme Red stuff.
Really?
I've been really into
Nice.
Swiss lately. My Super Arctic Sunbursts are always favorite. I'd probably say Super Arctic Sunbursts because they're so damn pink.
Dude, sunbursts are taking off, aren't they?
Oh, they have been for a long time. They've just always been an ultra popular morph combination. And the Super Arctic Sunburst condas, they're really, they're very okay.
Okay. Any questions, guys? I think we have some questions. Ask Jeff about the skull face. Do you know anything about some new Hognose morphs?
Yeah. Well, there's the new Hognose morph that's on the market right now is skull face. I do have a few, and we'll see how those go as I raise them up and breed them. This year he'll prove out if there's a super form that's different than the heterozygous. It's like proving an incomplete dominant, which I think there will be a super form that is drastically different from the heterozygous single copy gene, or a single copy of individual animal or allele, I should say.
Tren Murray. She said, Jeff's Super Arctic Sables are amazing.
They are. Yeah, Super Arctic Sables are very, very nice. They're somewhat variable, and you can get a bunch of really nice different variations. You can get the really black hypermelanistic ones, and they got kind of like a sometimes they have a pinkish or almost purplish hue to them from the Super Arctic, and as well as actually kind of the Super Arctic and Sable, they're reacting to one another. Then I have ones that have pink and magenta tones to them. I have ones that are bluish, nice kind of stone earthy blue sheen to their background, and then I have kind of everything a little bit in between with those. So yeah, Super Arctic Sables are a very impressive morph.
Now when you produce a different tone or a different color, a different highlight or a shadow, do you you hold them as a holdback, right, and see if you can reproduce that or make it even better or more defined? Or
it depends on if it's a morph project I'm working on that involves a polygenic trait, such as
that's why I'm polygenic.
Yeah, red phase, lemon ghost, woma. You could even use jaguar as an example. And if you get some real high expression, result that is because of that polygenic, then that's definitely one you want to keep back and probably work towards, depending on what your goal you have in mind is. But with say Super Arctic Sables, it seems like I do have ones that are more prone to throwing these bluish phase ones, and then I have these real blackish and kind of magenta-ish ones. The ones that are the kind of that pink and a little bit of magenta tone to them, though, they're kind of on the same spectrum as the blue phase. There's just more earthral force popping through, giving them more of a pink magenta-ish kind of hue that I keep explaining. But with those ones, a lot of times, because it's super Arctic sable is somewhat variable, on expression, and then so is super Arctic. So with those, I don't think there's a whole lot of polygenics going on in there that are like, say, interfering or creating these bluish phase ones or these more black or magenta-ish ones. But they might be more likely for the ones to say throw these blue phase ones because that's kind of the particular look of the parents. But time will tell as you raise those up and breed them. But super Arctics, and sables as themselves, they're not really that controllable unless you're incorporating some selectively line breeding. So basically, you have a polygenic then that's interfering with these, the super form of the Arctic gene to homozygous, and then like the sable, which is things are going to affect them differently. Sable is actually way easier to affect with polygenes than super Arctic. Super Arctic's a little hard to control.
True. Got a couple questions here. Have you thought of making your own incubator? Yeah, I actually, when I move out this year, I'm moving out before September, because if I'm going to continue with this hobby, I would think, or actually a business, I would think it's going to be a business soon for me in next year or two. I need a big basement. I need something like what Jeff has right now. And, put maybe 1,000 racks in there and just go with that. Jeff, incubators. Do you have your own incubators? Do you make your own, or do you buy them, or what do you do?
I have a walk-in incubator, and it's basically controlled by it's not finished. It's going to be controlled by a double split. And then my hognose eggs, the majority of them, I incubate them right in my reptile rooms on racks and shelves. And, you'll hear some people say that's like risky and stuff, but, I know what temperature it is in there because I have my digital thermometers on the actual, racks that I incubate these eggs on, the wire shelving. And it's right in my reptile room. I have the, temperature control set in there. I have the thermostat for the furnace set in there and everything. And then, air conditioning to kick on. And I go in there all the time. So you'll know without even looking, since as somebody's always, in there, they know if it's too cold or too hot. And hognose eggs are very resilient. They can take large temperature swings. Naturally, in the wild, they're getting temperature swings, but they're kind of dulled. And by that, I mean, it's the temperature's going to slowly drop and then slowly increase because the eggs are buried. But the eggs in the wild are going to be experiencing night drops down to around 70 degrees. And then during the day, they're going to be up to about 80, maybe slightly warmer than that during the day as the sun hits the embankment that these hognose eggs were deposited on, the hognose nest. And, that's why hognose eggs in the wild, since they have those temperature drops, the babies in the eggs are having periods of metabolism activity and then less activity, more of an inactive mode when they get close to like 70. They're definitely still developing, but, much slower. And in the wild, their eggs are taking about, maybe 80, 90 days roughly to hatch. Trying to think. Yeah, about 90 days, close to 90 days to hatch. But in captivity, we're doing them at these constant, say 80, 82 degree temps.
It's like 50 to 60 days, yeah.
Yeah, low 50 days. Depends where you're at with the temperatures. If you're on like 79, so like 80 degrees, you're going to be closer to like 60 days. If you do like 82, 83, you're going to be closer to low 50 days. It also depends on the locale of the hognose, although like most hognose are pretty mixed now, especially like sable stuff. But when I first got sables and I was breeding them, even if they weren't quite pure, but like a high percent of their original Montana locality, their eggs would hatch out about 5-6 days faster than my other typical Western hognose that have a lot of Southwest Texas lineage in them. So their locales definitely have some genetic differences, because the ones from the northern regions, their eggs hatch out at a much quicker rate when incubated at the same exact temperature as a hognose from a Southwest Texas mixed with. There's a few other locales mixed in with a lot of these morphs, but the abundance of Western hognose originated from Southwest Texas areas.
Yeah, we got a lot of the chat's kicking off right now. Chat's going really good right now. Question I have for you is incubation temperature. Like I have it right now at like 28 degrees Celsius, and of course my incubator does not convert to Fahrenheit, and I try to infrared it. and when I infrared my tubs, it's like 81, 82. Substrate's around 80, 81. So that's pretty good. What's the highest temperature can you go incubating hognose eggs?
What
The
temperature
highest,
do
the
we
highest
actually-
we. So you told me before you want it as high as 85 and a, hatch with no problem.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, the thing is, I don't suggest really incubating at those warm temps because it's
Correct,
not
yeah.
necessary. There's nothing really to gain from it. I'll play around a little bit, and then also sometimes I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't care, but I know that the hognose eggs are fine because the way that hognose adapted and evolved where they live in the Central Plains, where there could be temps of like 115 degrees, and the sun hitting an embankment that hot. The sunlight's even warming up that even more, like drastically more so. But the hognose in that area, again, they stage in these nests and they use their body as a thermometer to best gauge the best location to deposit their eggs. So they're never going to lay their eggs in areas where they can, get these extreme temperatures. If you get your hognose eggs up to like 90, low 90s, I'm sure if it's going to kill them. If they're younger eggs, if they're close, that's the other thing too, is like where they're at in their stage. The closer they are to hatching, the more tolerant they are to temperature shifts. So, you can get them down, like I've had hognose eggs, they can get down to 70 degrees. They naturally do in the wild. That's not going to, affect them. Is there a benefit? I don't think so, because all it's doing is their metabolism's just kind of slowing down. I think the best temps to incubate at are probably around, like anywhere between 78 and 82. I would the favorite of most hognose breeders is between 80 and 82. Last year I did incubate some between 83 and 85, and they had some spikes up to 87. And I didn't actually really see any negative effects from that.
All right, cool.
That's probably
good.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I had a few like probably slightly elevated like
spikes.
Issues with like the slight higher percent that I normally get of like maybe kinks. But again, like the ones with I hatch out with the kinks and defects was still very minimal. But those higher temps, when they're making them grow a little rapid, they might cause kinking a little more. But the funny thing is they didn't really hatch that more rapidly at these warm temps. Their metabolism actually probably stayed fairly on par, which actually shows if you went hotter than that, that's actually just putting stress on the baby because those aren't adequate incubation temperatures. So I think incubation temps of like 85 plus for extended periods of time actually put stress on the babies, but they're able to or developmental stress because it's not the perfect window or the best window to kind of be in for incubating, because if they're taking just as long or a little longer, and I've read some studies too where they incubated cooler bred eggs at higher temps and they kind of found similar results. So that's where I actually was this past season incubating some of that worm, even though I didn't see any negative effects from it. There were some with some like larger yolk sacs and stuff, because that means they weren't absorbing everything properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think low 80s is good. And that's usually where I incubate most of mine. But, I do experiment with stuff to kind of like, luckily, I didn't lose anything. I didn't, mess anything up really bad. But definitely I'd say the best place to be for incubating is between the high 70s and low 80s, like right in that window, 79, 80, 81.
Yeah, that's what I did my first clutch one. Put my first clutch in the incubator. Like, I was infrareding it because I got the infrared gun. I love that fucking thing. That thing freaking is awesome. But when I hit the side of the tub with it, it was like 82. When I lift up the lid and I hit the substrate and the eggs, it was 81. So I was like, dude, that's perfect, right? 81. I'm like, that's great.
Perfect. Yep.
But I noticed with the incubator that I have, if you put the eggs on the lower bottom of the incubator, it's like around 80, 81. When I have the eggs, as of yesterday, in the high or in the top side or the top part of the incubator, I noticed it's around 82, 83. So I'm like, it should be okay still. So I'm like, fine with that. Yeah.
Some of these, like a lot of these incubators,
it fluctuates. Yeah, fluctuates.
They come equipped with fans that kind of, to help circulate the air so that you don't get those warm and cool spots. But in some cases, you're going to get it, and it's going to be like that. Like you said, it's marginal. It's only like a degree and a half or two. Yeah, that's fine. And if you incubate hognose eggs at like 83, again, that's fine too. I just say I really seems like the perfect temp is
78 to 81. Yeah.
Yeah, 78 to 82, that range.
Yeah. So it's when I talked to you when I did my first clutch a few weeks ago. I told you, I asked you, I'm like, oh, dude, what do you think? You're like, yeah, do this, do that. I'm like, all right. So you said to me like 78 to 81. So I was like, okay, cool. So I put it at like, I think it was like 28 degrees Celsius because I was stupid. I brought a incubator in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but whatever. But it works. But I use my infrared and it's perfect, man. Like the tubs really get to the degree that you set it at, but inside the medium, the substrate is like a degree or two less. So I'm like, all right, that's perfect then. So if the tubs get like to 83 and I hit the infrared on the substrate or the eggs, it's 81. So I'm like, all right, good, perfect. I'm not even worried about that. Dude, see, that's how detailed I get with this kind of stuff, man. That's like infrared stuff, make sure it's the perfect heat. Oh my God, I get crazy when it comes to this stuff. But we have a lot of questions here, Jeff. Let me get to the chat is kicking butt right now, dude. We got a lot of chat's going crazy. All right, where's the one that I saw here? Ryan asked, do you think that mixing species, subspecies of hognose would be good for genetic diversity and morph discovery? Or do you think it's better to keep lines pure?
Well, when it comes to hybridization, I don't look down at hybridizing at all. I think it's actually interesting. I don't think it does anything negative to the hobby whatsoever. They've actually brought back a lot of species on the brink of extinction through using subspecies or
Correct, yeah.
alternative species hybridization to bring in new blood because there wasn't enough genetic diversity in the severely depleted gene pool of the endangered species. They did that with a few geese, I believe, and I know they've done it with other species too. But do I think it's necessary for Western hognose? No, definitely not, because there's enough locales. Now, mixing locales is not like hybridizing whatsoever. It's not even in the same wheelhouse. But it's kind of like if you want to talk, the only species you can really talk about hybridizing them to is it's plains hognoses to Mexicans. Kennerli used to be separated as a subspecies, and I believe they probably are a subspecies, but not super recent, but more recent data on taxonomy, and then taking, I guess, DNA and blood samples, they show that actually Kennerli and Nassicus are distinct species. But back in the day when you used to try to get a Western hognose, they'd always there'd be a decent amount of Mexicans, not a lot compared to like Westerns. There's definitely way more Western hognose, but people were just looking for Western hognose in general.
Were they crossing the border or no?
Well, no. Well, there you could find Mexican hognose in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona.
It's a joke,
actually,
Jeff.
If you go to Arizona, there's only Mexican hognose there. New Mexico, you got plains, slash, the Westerns, as we refer to them as mostly, and then you have the Mexicans, the Kennerli in some regions. Now they do overlap, and there is kind of like an area where they kind of touch. And I think it's pretty much near impossible for them not to naturally hybridize fairly often in these ranges and actually give you integrate. But there's not a whole lot of evidence of that many intergrades. There have definitely been some, probably hybrid, there's definitely been like hybridizations in captivity, especially back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where people were getting in Mexican hognose, Worcester plains, and then sometimes they were just being labeled as either, one, or generally you'd have a lot of Mexicans in the late 90s, early 2000s, they just be called Westerns, and they didn't, but everybody kind of knew, for the most part, if you were somewhat knowledgeable, that they were Mexicans.
Yeah.
So I don't really think there was that much hybridization with those going on. I talked to somebody else, they thought there was a ton. I'm like, there's no way. Because I remember buying hognose and going looking for hognose all the time at these shows, and these were all from mostly at that time people that were reselling them from wild collected animals. And Richard Evans is responsible for so many hognose in captivity, and they're all from the Lubbock, Texas area, and some a little further south, probably like Midland, Texas, little areas south of Lubbock too. And that's pretty far from the Mexican locales. I mean, it's not ultra far,
but they were Mexicans, right? Mexican hognose.
What?
They were Mexican hognoses, or
no? Those are all Westerns in Lubbock.
So they're
Texas.
all Westerns. Okay, all right.
Yeah, all the hobby was initially started all with plains Western hognose. There were some Mexican, but there wasn't many. And can Southern hognose or Eastern hognose be hybridized with Nassicus? I don't know. I think that you'd have to test it out and then see if you're able to get actual fertile babies. And I think that's interesting because then it tells you a little more about taxonomy, how closely related they actually are. Because if you're having a very difficult time and you're completely incapable of hybridizing them, kind of like African fat-tail geckos and leopard geckos, they're very similar looking at appearance. They're in the same subfamily, Ubuliferidae eyelid geckos, and they look so similar in body structure. I mean, obviously you can tell there's a difference, but their size and body structure is very similar. And that leads a lot of people, since they are both eyelid geckos, that these should be able to hybridize. People have tried it so many times. I even tried it in the past. I know tons of other people have tried it, like hundreds of times, and you just never get fertile eggs. And, they are a different genus, but that shows you that these guys really aren't that closely related. They're not able to hybridize.
Awesome, dude. Awesome rant. Got a question on mold here, Jeff. We got 2 questions on mold. Chat is kicking ass right now, dude. We got a lot of Jesus Christ. We're never gonna get through them all. Trin asked, and also Amy Barrett asked, and I think it covers the mold issue here. So Trin asked, what do you do if an egg starts to mold? I can actually answer that because I'm pretty good at that so far. I learned about that this year. I know Snake Discovery, Emily, I think her name is, uses Loachman powder. We talked about that actually on the phone, Jeff.
Yeah.
Is this something you do? And also Amy Barrett asked, I know Jeff covers his eggs up with incubation medium substrate. So I'm not sure if he ever sees any mold or not. Now, I know, Jeff, you do like to bury your eggs. I do bury my eggs 50% into coco-coir and also vermiculite, moist. And I haven't seen any problems yet with mold. Now, you want to talk about the mold issue on eggs. Now, I know with mold on eggs, you can actually, what I did have mold on a couple of my eggs. Good ones. And I got a Q-tip, and I just whipped the Q-tip with it. Got the mold off. It was fine. Very little mold. Just a little bit. So, go ahead, Jeff. Mold issues.
Yeah, mold isn't a really big concern of mine. The mold isn't going to permeate the protective eggshell that's encompassing the embryo developing. And there is definitely, usually if you see some of these eggs that kind of like what they call a nipple, that hardened area on it, those areas are more likely to mold. But those areas aren't really an area. Yeah, you sound like Beavis and fucking Butthead over there.
Yeah.
But those areas, if those get molded up, they're not really that much of a concern because they're not suffocating anything. They're not interrupting that vascular system that is absorbing oxygen and then also disposing of gas from the embryo that's developing. So, it's definitely not something that I'm really that concerned about. I could actually have eggs incubating, and there could be one egg that's a dummy egg, which I describe a dummy egg as an egg that looks fertile. It looks white, it looks perfect, but there's either an underdeveloped embryo that just didn't make it, or there's no embryo or nothing at all.
And that's what happened to me.
Right? Yeah, it's just a bad egg. And I call them dummy eggs. I didn't come up with that term, but I hear it being used for Europlatus and Rhacodactylus that would lay eggs that looked good and they just weren't. And there would be people that are questioning why they did that. But anyway, that's where the term comes from. I like to think of it as they make you look like a dummy because you thought you got good eggs, but really April Fools. But again, I've had dummy eggs right next to a good egg, and the dummy egg folds up, releases all the moisture in it because it doesn't have the protective barrier isn't the same because it doesn't have a vascular system. It's, completely different from the good fertilized egg that has something actually growing in it. And so that egg basically starts the decomposition process. But sometimes these dummy eggs can actually go full term, especially if you keep them more on the drier side. The more moisture, the more likely they are to start, their decomposition process. But with that decomposition process, sometimes they do happen, even the substrate, the egg incubation medium is a little on the less moist side, but they'll release moisture and stuff. And then they're actually really good food for mold to grow. So a lot of times you'll get mold growing on those, and I'll have these things that are just riddled with mold, and it'll be going all around the good egg, and it never affects the good fertilized egg. Now, should you just leave a ton of mold just because I'm saying hey, I haven't seen mold have any negative interference? Nah, just scrape it off. And if you do have an area that one of those nipples are hard areas and mold keeps growing on it, just put some dry substrate on it. Like I used to like to use just dried cocoa coir and just put it on there. And cocoa coir has natural mold inhibitors in it. And so the mold doesn't really like growing into cocoa coir unless there's some nitrogen or other material to break it down in there that can act as food for the mold.
It's exactly what I was going to say because you told me that, dude. Like, if you have like
that was pretty weird.
Exactly there, Jeff Galewood. But yeah, that's what I did. Like when I saw one of my eggs get a little mold on it, I just got a Q-tip, swabbed it off, and then I put a little dry substrate on top of it, cocoa coir, and it worked, dude. Like you said to me, like, dude,
you don't need to go nuts with it. Now I did tell you about
just
this,
a little bit.
This happened. Yeah, this happened to me. This is probably not a question that's come up, but it's a good one to know just in case. I like to incubate on cocoa coir, and all this cocoa coir, if you're getting the good grade stuff, it's pre-washed, so it's very clean soil and everything. But I used to incubate with like peat moss a lot, mixed with some vermiculite because it make it nice and loamy. And the one thing I'd get with my peat moss, even if I mixed it with like steaming hot water, like close to boiling hot water, there'd still be wood mite eggs that would survive in there. And in 1 year, I had wood mites eat holes into a good clutch of hognose. But these hognose, they were about 3 weeks out from hatching. And so I moved them to a completely different egg box. I wiped off and got rid of all the wood mites that were on them, and I super glued the areas where the
holes were
holes into the eggs. Yeah, there was fluid oozing from these eggs. I was like,
people say you can use like super glue for those holes, right? Or no?
Yeah. Well, if you did you just hear what I said? I said super glue.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I was reading chat at the same time. Sorry.
Super glue. Yeah, super glue. And it's like super glue, I guess, is really similar to, you said, I don't know what skin glue is made out of, but they said it's actually very similar. You can actually use super glue as skin glue.
Skin glue, same thing.
Yeah, these little areas that the wood mites ate holes into. And then, 3 weeks later, every baby hatched out perfectly fine. So it didn't mess with the, embryo that was developing.
Now, I talked to you on the phone last week about this. Like, and I think people want to know this because there's a video out there that has like millions of views on our 1.5 million views, where if you have a windowed egg, that might be good, right? You can use Elmer's glue, of course, toxic-free Elmer's glue with Lotrimum powder, mix it up, and then spread it on the windowed side of the egg, and it looks fine. See that video I sent you?
Why are they doing that? Like, what does that do?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
I don't know. Like, if you want to like start doing arts and crafts with your fucking eggs,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Color dye,
dude. Emily at Snake Discovery did that, and I saw that.
Really nice. Emily's great.
She did it on the window egg. It looked good afterwards. Like after a week, it looked really good. But I'm like,
Elmer's glue is non-toxic. I don't think it was necessary because
that's what I said. That's what I'm saying too.
I've had windowed eggs, and basically, well, here's the thing: it depends on the species. But like hognose snakes, their eggs are very porous. And so sometimes part of their egg, the really porous areas, are semi-transparent. And I read about it in chicken eggs and stuff and other bird eggs about, weaker areas. And basically, if you do supplement more, it reduces it. But even a chicken with like proper supplementation, they would still get eggs kind of like that. And I think you're going to get the same thing with hognose eggs. And these windowed eggs don't do anything. And they're also, the one thing I noticed about these window eggs and hognose snakes is it's not, I don't think, anything associated with calcium. Everybody says like, oh, the animal must have been, low on calcium. It doesn't have enough D3. But it's like, well, all the babies are hatching out fine from these. They don't have calcium deficiencies. It's like, well, so you're just saying the surface of the egg has calcium deficiency? It's like, well, we got to understand why hognose eggs are more prone to it.
Correct.
And the reason is their egg structures are very different from other species. If you hold a corn snake egg, a rat snake egg, those eggshells are much more leathery and thicker. And hognose, since they're laying eggs on these prairies, they've just evolved and adapted to lay their eggs, or really the evolution of them. It's created their eggs to be like this for a purpose, probably because they're incubating in sand. And so their eggs are more like this. And so I've actually sometimes incubated them with a lot of sand and cocoa coir to see if that actually responds or does anything with the incubation process. I don't notice anything. I don't think it's anything noteworthy, but I do like to incubate with like sand and cocoa coir. And when I do bury them like this, I get very few window eggs. Actually, the funny thing is, I got those one window eggs, and those eggs were actually pure white, and they all turned perfectly clear about 5 days before hatching. It's like, well, why did they change? How did they all of a sudden turn clear? It's like, well, that's not a lack of calcium. It's like, how could they be perfect white and then all of a sudden there's no calcium? No, and it's because the egg shell of the hognose are very porous. and they're absorbing some level of moisture, and that moisture that's building up in there is actually making them look transparent, and is that they actually are becoming transparent. And I noticed too that the majority of these hognose eggs that turn clear in windows like that definitely have to do with the humidity, the moisture in the eggshell, and especially the substrate that they're incubating them on. Because if you notice, watch these people that have tons of window eggs. They're all incubating them on one thing they have in common: perlite. And perlite holds a lot of moisture, and for whatever reason, it probably has a really humid environment, and that eggshell is absorbing that humidity, and you're getting these clear window patches.
Yeah, I don't use perlite, man.
Yeah, but I think it's fine. I mean, these window eggs, I see people with them. Like, it's like the hognose is living in like a glass house. You can see like everything inside there. Correct. It's like crazy. Yeah. And then the hognose hatches out fine. Do you have to dunk it in Elmer's glue? No, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that, guys. That's what I thought.
Don't have to do that.
Yeah, I've been using what you said to me, what you told me about 2 years ago, is like I use fine cocoa core to bricks. Just a little moist, not major, and I've been mixing it with the vermiculite, the fine vermiculite, very fine, and I've been mixing that up, dude. It's been working pretty good, man. That medium has been really good for me, man. So
vermiculite has asbestos in it.
Thanks, Jeff. My babies are gonna die now.
It's gotta be like a minute amount. I don't think it's anything to cause any like harm.
Dude, it's very little. It's like maybe like a tenth of what the cocoa core is.
Yeah, but it's like everything. Like everything's like a carcinogen. Like you got sand all has silica in it, and silica is bad for your lungs. Like
So Jeff's frogs that I got that off of says you should use for fucking hognose. I guess I'm wrong. Freaking Jeff. All right, Jeff, we got a few more. Oh my god, dude. Fucking.
All right,
dude, we got like 80 people through the room, 26 people watching right now. Let me see here. Questions. All right, let's go on. Bobby Evans. I know Bobby Evans. Bobby Evans actually hit me up on I think it was Instagram. I have a pair that courts very heavy, but I yet to see a lock. I've been leaving them together 3 on, 3 off. I usually do 3 on, 2 off. How long should I keep this up? If I don't see locks, do I check for weights for gains? That's what I did. So what I did with Autumn and also Annie is like, even though I did confirm their locks, I did weigh them. So I did notice after a week and a half, 2 weeks of their lock, I did notice massive gains, like 28, 30, 40, 50 grams. So that's what I do. I've noticed massive gains. That's why I'm really big on the scale. I'm really big on the scale, so especially when it comes to breeding. So once my hognose is locked, I confirm it. I put it on the scale. After a week and a half, if she's picking up 20, 25 grams more than normal, most likely I think she's gravid. Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, well, it depends on how long you're pairing them on and off. It sounds like if the male's courting really heavy, and that means, it sounds like the male is definitely, eager and ready and doing everything he's supposed to be doing on his side.
But the female's not receptive. Yeah,
exactly. It sounds like the female's, lacking receptiveness, probably because she's not developing any egg follicles, and she's just not ready. So what I would do would be keep pairing them on and off. But if you've been doing this for a while, I might be doing more like 5-day breaks because, a 3-day break to a 5-day break, there isn't going to be much of a difference if the female's just not ready, because egg follicle development does take some time. And so I would start doing 5-day breaks, feeding them, giving water and everything in between that time. That way you're just not, 3 days isn't that, often to be putting them together where it's going to be like, stressing them out or anything like that. Or it's just like an unnecessary, overly, just trying to get them to breed all the time. But I would just go more to like every 5 days, putting them together and keeping them together for like probably 2 to 3 days, then removing them for 5 days, and just keep doing that. And I've done that with a lot that I'm unsure if they've locked. And that's the other thing too. Sometimes you'll get these males that if he's showing like interest, and then you see him kind of losing interest while he's with the female, they're just kind of like hanging out every time you put them together. That is a decent sign that they may have locked, because again, like I've said earlier, the males definitely lose interest in the females once they've locked. That's definitely, most of the time they have a different demeanor towards the female afterwards. But, you know, in some cases, if you're giving them a break, then re-putting them in, just that stimulation of it being with a female again, will kind of initiate some court-like behavior in some. And so you might be putting them together not thinking they've locked and they actually have locked. So I would just start doing longer breaks and keep doing it here and there over the next month. And then if you can see the female starting to grow and swell up in her lower 1/3 portion, then you know that, okay, you probably got locked and you missed it. Because sometimes they don't lock for a very long time. Every now and then I do miss locks because I'm always trying to visually confirm locks because I know everything happened. I can move the male out of there and start feeding the female up, and I can get him ready for another girl. And I don't have to do any unnecessary pairings with that pair again. So I would just go about it like that.
Hey, Jeff, you know what we got to do again? We got to do it one more time. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll be right back. Hanging out there. Thank you, guys. We got a couple promotions from some awesome people on Instagram. So thank you, guys. Appreciate the support, man. You guys rock, man. We're rocking, man. Holy shit. Man, all the comments and all the viewers, man. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, man. So, Jeff.
I can't see any of it.
Yeah, whatever, Jeff. Because you're in your studio. Whatever. All right. I'm going to give you another link. Guys, give me a second here, man. Let me give Jeff a new link. And by the way, guys, I'm super tired, man. Like I said, 8 hours in like 2 days. I'm old. I'm almost 50 years old. Do you believe, guys, I'm almost 50 years old? Is that amazing? Shut up, Jeff. I don't want to hear your stuff right now. There he goes. All right, so we end it. I know everybody thinks I'm in my mid-30s, late 30s because the way I look. Because you know what? Look at me. Like, you think. Hey, Joe, I watch your videos. What do you look? Yeah, mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s. No, almost 50. Yeah, that's crazy. But anyway. Little diatribe there. All right, let me give Jeff, and I got more questions from you guys. Don't worry. We'll get to them. Let me get Jeff set up here. And we should be good to go. We got about another half an hour left, guys. 40 minutes. Get those questions in. If you got any more questions, hit me up. I'll get your questions in, man. Don't worry. All right, so participants. Let me do this. Just probably like wondering where it's at. The invite link. Let me give him the invite link again. All right, he should be here in a couple seconds here, guys. Thank you very much. I gotta do Discord audio, Discord video. And I am so tired. Trying to get into the Hognose breeding game here to learn. Ryan, if there's anywhere you're gonna learn is here. Trust me, you're gonna learn. I'm like, check out all my Hognose care videos, your first baby Hognose videos I do here. I'm like, all my interviews with Jeff Galewood. I'm like, this guy's a legend. I'm like, this guy is, you know, if you want to learn from anybody, it's Jeff Galewood. You know what I mean? So I've learned a lot from him and other people, and it's amazing. All right, Jeff, make sure you connect your audio again. There you go.
All right.
All right, we're here, brother. All right, we're good. So, there it is, Jeff. What kind of shoes you got on, dude? Adidas, red? What are you, part of the Bloods? No?
What'd you say?
You said you're wearing red shoes. Were you part of the Bloods? No?
No, I mean, they're just because there's something red on my body.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
I also have blue.
All right, trying to ask, why is Aspen so dusty? Because it's dusty. Dusty for me.
Well, because it's a lot of these things are being like fired like in a kiln and heat treated. I mean, they're not getting like a kiln gets really hot, but they're being heat treated.
It's not going to hurt your
eyes. Yeah, they're being chopped up to really small pieces, and then there's like a lot of debris coming with it. The coarse aspen I get, generally it's not as dusty as like the really fine cut or the curly aspen. And if you don't like the dust, you could also go to, using like a more bioactive like substrate and then keeping it moist. Then of course with the water levels in it, you're not going to get much dust there.
Yeah,
unless you let it get dry.
Yeah, I spray my terrariums down quite often actually, especially when they're going through shed. Somebody just said Jeff looking fly as fuck. Jeff, you're looking fly as fuck, dude.
Appreciate it.
There you go, Ryan. There you go. He says thank you. Jeff's lemon ghosts are amazing. Yeah, Jeff has an amazing lemon ghost, right?
I have some pretty nice ones.
All right, what do you think is the best? What do you think is the best Hognose project to get into to get your Hognose business off on the right foot? Well, I can answer that real quick here. Like for me, hets are very cheap, so the hets are what you want to go for in the beginning if you don't have no money. So if you have little money, hets are the way to go. And I went with Arctics. I went with double het snows. And I also went with that's about it. Toffees too as well. Toffees are pretty good. Arctic toffees are really good. I brought an Arctic toffee off Jeff Galewood and also a snow. Or actually, you know what was it? Extreme red albino I got for you, female. Het snow I got off of Jeff. And yeah, so toffee is good. Hets, anything het, double het snows are really good to start with. There's not many snows on Morph Market, man. They sell for a lot, man. I don't know why more people are not producing snows. I don't know why, but they sell pretty good, right, Jeff?
Snows sell very well, and that's probably why you don't see many because they sell well. So
Yeah, true.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Snows are just so pretty, dude.
Project animals.
They're pretty.
Right. Yeah. Like I don't produce many. Like I produced an okay amount of snows this year, not many, but a lot of them were past het sable and stuff. So like my snows were like drastically more expensive because of that. But they all ended up selling. I mean, I think I have like 1 or 2 left available. Then I have like one nice
1 or 2 out 3,000.
That's
amazing, guys, right? Jesus Christ. Wait, what, could you mix anything with a snow to try to produce something new, Jeff? I'm like, I know snows are pretty much all white. They're pretty much ghost looking. They're white. Could you do anything with a snow or no? You think?
Oh yeah. You gotta use your imagination. You can do a lot with snows.
No shit,
like
Jeff.
I have purple line extreme red and also my lineage of red compounded in some of my snow projects. And that's been a project I've been actually working on for about like 7 years.
So you could do like an extreme red with the snow would look really freaking cool. Like the outside of their pattern would be like bright red, and then they would be white.
Well, more pink.
Would that be cool?
You get more red tones in there. The Xanthic is definitely suppressing it, but you'll get you get nice pink tones. So like some of my purple line extreme red snows I have, they're like 3rd generation ones, are very pink. So they're very white and pink. Obviously there's Yetis and Super Yetis, which is the Conda and then Super Conda form.
Yeah, that's why I had a Yeti. Yeah.
There's Snow Burst, which are sable, albino, Xanthic, the triple visual. So it's a snow with sable. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of other things. You can make a Swiss snow. Those don't exist yet. But
that'd be cool, right? Like a brown outline on a. Oh my god!
Well,
imagine that guy's a brown outline on a snow.
All the melanin, but it's gonna look
Jeff.
similar to that of a snow burst. But there could be some variations, and with the erythrophores that show through, which are the red pigment cells, because that's like all you're really gonna see in these snow animals are degrees of like red tones, and then sometimes some like lavenders.
God, that's pretty hot. That'd be pretty cool. I got actually a project I'm working on, Jeff, and I'm not going to tell you about it. Okay, so screw you. Let's see here. These videos with Jeff and Joe have been great so far. Oh my God, Jeff, we're great so far. Check out the Braden and Brumation videos. I have watched each like 14 times and learned so much. Anthony, thanks for watching the videos, man. I appreciate it, man. So, I'm like, that's why I make these videos. And to be honest with you, since Jeff's here, guys, my videos, the knowledge that I've gained, the wisdom I have gained, that I bestow on you guys, that I promote on my channel here, is because of people like Jeff. Mostly because of Jeff. So, you got to give him the big props here, man. Not me. I just share the knowledge I gained from him, and it works if it works for me. Of course, I do my own research and so on and so forth, and I, bestow, of course, I hate using that word, but bestow my knowledge on you guys in my videos, and I know it works for a lot of you guys, but it's because of people like this right here that I'm talking to right now, Jeff Galewood. He's been doing this for, what, 2 decades now, John? Jeff, since you were like 13, right? Did I get that right?
2 decades. I mean, if you want to consider, like from the time I started keeping Hognose, it's been like 25 years, basically. But yeah, I appreciate that, Joe, all the nice stuff you just said.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude. Yeah, you're the man, dude. So, I learned a shitload from you, man. And of course, I'm here on YouTube, not like you. You should be on freaking YouTube. But,
I have content.
Guys, I've been bugging him for 2 years to get on YouTube.
I know. It's about done. We just need to most of the stuff doesn't really need to be edited that much. I just need to make the channel. And
I told you I would do the editing. I told you that.
I know.
And you took me up on that offer, I guess, sort of. So.
Yes. Yeah. No, we'll definitely be working on some stuff.
We'll work together. We'll get it going. So I'm like, my editing is nothing what I can do. I'm like, my editing on my videos is just the basics. Like I can do fade in, fade outs, blurs, and all that shit, man. I can do a lot of stuff. Please read my question. Okay, where's your question? I'm sorry, man. Beard, question mark. We got Beard. I did turn it down. Beard, I don't see anything else from you. Jeff, do you currently work on watermelon morse now? I saw an amazing army green specimen from Nick Markham at Narcon or Narbic, whatever show.
Yeah, Nick Markham.
Nick Markham. And I can't get it out of my head. Green.
Yeah. I used to actually work on green hypo / watermelons. They were more known as green hypos when they initially came out, and it's a selectively line bred trait. And the characteristics of a really nice green hypo / watermelon. Well, actually, the one thing to mention is watermelons were considered like a really high quality, basically green hypo. Like, so pretty much everybody shifted to calling them watermelons now. But watermelons were the ones that were like had a really white background, and their saddles were like a really light minty green, and they had like pinks in them and stuff, and they were really light colored, but the green was very prominent. Kind of like the one you see on Nick Markham's table. That's a tougher polygenic to achieve because reptiles don't really produce, they don't produce cyanophores, which is blue pigmentation. So you can't get green. Well, here's the thing: green is made of yellow and blue, so you can't actually get real green tones. What you're seeing is, iridophores refracting light back with a combination of xanthophores, giving you this green look. So there's only so much you can really do. Basically, if you want to make a really green hognose, you have to look to animals that boost iridophore production. One is superarctics, but with them depleting xanthophores, I don't foresee them making anything green. You're going to just see stuff that's blue, which we already do, such as the blue phase, superarctic sables. And a lot of superarctics, you can even get that purplish, bluish, translucent look on some individuals where you see it all on their throat or on their sides. Actually, I have one that has very nice bluish, purplish, semi-transparent scales along the snake's side. But if you want to get like really nice greens, sables increase iridophores a lot. And the problem though with that is you're not going to get a green hypo looking snake with the sable gene, because sable increases pigment production, while with the green hypo lineages / watermelon, you're seeing really light color depleted animals, and you're getting some of these nice yellow tones and hues that are working with iridophores to give you this green effect. And while it's pretty controllable, if you have like say 2 really nice watermelons and you breed them to another nice watermelon and it comes from a strong lineage that's not really outcrossed, and you have a high percent where you're not going to get a lot of interference, because these are both like high quality long-term line bred animals that are high percent or close to, let's say, pure watermelons. They're pretty consistent, but your greens are going to vary to a degree, and your greens aren't going to always be that impressive either. As adults, hognoses scales, they're pretty, thick. They're heavily keeled, and so they don't really seem to have that same kind of look as the young individuals do. So all of my really nice greens as adults were never as nice as the sub-adults. I mean, their scale structure doesn't really, think it change that much. But, that's just kind of the way I'm trying to think and make sense of why they kind of dull out a little bit with age, is that's all I'm trying to do there. But, again, they look really good, and they do stay green into adults, but they look their best at 6 months to a year and a half old, year and a half of age, all in that window.
And is it true that some of the polygenetics, it takes maybe a year or two for them to really show their colors, or?
Well, they just progressively get nicer.
After each shed, right? Yeah. So you notice that, like, with the Super Arctics come out all black, and then when they shed, they really show their true colors, right?
Yeah, but that's because that's just a fixed incomplete dominant gene, and that's just how
Correct.
the
Yeah.
homozygous looks. With lemon ghost or green hypo stuff, green hypo / watermelons always look a lot better after a few sheds, especially
Yeah.
once they're like around 6 months of age to a year of age, and they're again pretty controllable. Just the degree of green you're going to get on them definitely varies. It's really hard to replicate because I remember I made a watermelon when I was like 21 or 22. And she was like, for about a 6 month period, probably one of the best looking snakes I had seen. She had like a very light white background, and her saddles were like a strong mint green, like very noticeably green. And she stayed nice, but once she was like 2.5, 3 years old, the greens definitely weren't as strong. She was still really, really good. The funny thing is, I bred her to another really nice male. I never produced one again as nice as her. And I don't really have much from green hypo and watermelon lineage anymore. I think it's a really cool line bred project. It's a hard one to combine into things. I mean, one thing I would like to, or I would put in if I had it, would be like really nice looking Arctics, because you're going to get extremely high quality Arctics. Arctic's going to react very well with that, because you're breeding it to a really to an animal that complements those colors. So you're probably going to get some like nice light minty, greenish saddled, really nice white background Arctics with a combination like that. And I just kind of keep breeding those high quality Arctics back into watermelon lineage, and they're going to make really sharp looking Arctics. You can even have Conda in there. I think Jaguar would be good with watermelon stuff. Lemon Ghost and watermelon is I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't think that's a bad one. The one thing is, though, again, with Lemon Ghost being a lot deeper with pigments and more pigment saturation, I even say something like a really nice extreme red purple line, while watermelons, their base is kind of like washed out, so you can see these greens on their saddle. So if you put something with a lot of color saturation into it, you're gonna get rid of those greens pretty quickly.
It's so funny because I have a lot of good pictures of my Arctic Super Condo, Syl, the one that laid 12 eggs, or what was it, 9 eggs. She has like 6 fertile right now, 7 fertile. And she has beautiful on her saddle. After she sheds, on her saddle, she has beautiful pink tones, man. I'm like, it's very pink on her saddle, man. It's crazy, man. It looks really awesome, man. Crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like you could like even like I said, like lemon ghost, since it's like really pigment saturated, but lemon ghost, since they are yellow and they do have greenish tones, that's another one you can combine into watermelon. But that's like I think I'm pretty much like have almost no watermelon lineage stuff left in my collection. I used to have a okay amount of it when I was in my early 20s. Actually, at one point, I probably had the most green hypo and watermelon, hognose in the United States. They originated from Chad Fuchs. He was the original guy to kick that project off, but I don't think he has them anymore.
All right, I got a shitload of questions here. We'll go through a few more and we're out of here. I gotta get to bed. I gotta get up at 5 a.m. But we're here for you guys. Okay. Somebody, Shane Beard. He said he had a question. I said to post it again. He's like, it's up above, so I had to pan up to find it. I just checked my temperatures on my eggs in the incubator with a temperature gun. It read 88 degrees. The eggs are about 3 weeks from hatching. Will this be a problem? I didn't turn it down and put a fan on it. So he didn't put a fan on it. He didn't turn the temperature down.
Well, how long were they at 88 for?
For about 3 weeks. Or he said the eggs
for
are
about
about
3 weeks.
No, he said the eggs are about 3 weeks away from hatching. So
I heard that. How long were they at 88 for?
So I would think 6 weeks or 5 weeks, right? I would think, right? 5 weeks he added that. So. Is 88 too high, Jeff, or do you think he's okay?
Well, he said that they've been at 88 degrees the entire incubation period. 88.
88, and he has 3 weeks left. So I'm thinking 5 weeks. He would probably have it at like 88.
That's pretty hot. They should be okay. The thing is, if the eggs are still swollen tight and they're developing and everything, fine. They should be fine. I would drop the temperature a bit. 88 is very, very hot.
Yeah, I had mine at 82 for 3 weeks now, and they're plumping up big time, man. I'm like, the eggs are definitely growing. So, yeah, I would turn it down a little bit there, homie. I'd put it down like the 80, 82. So, that's pretty high. Let me go to watermelon. I don't know what that means. Jeff, do you? I already asked that. Oh my God. Table snow. Yeah, where's the other questions that I had? Yeah, whatever. We asked that. Oh my god. All right, we're done. Jeff, get back to work.
All right.
I know you like to go to bed like 4 o'clock in the morning and wake up at like fucking like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So
It depends what I got to do.
yeah, I know. I noticed, dude. Like when I had contact, I'm like, oh, I'm like 8 o'clock in the morning. Jeff still answer me like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, go to bed. That's awesome, dude. But thanks, Jeff, dude. Holy crap, dude. We had 80 people through the room, 20 people viewing right now. It's amazing, dude. So, really good stream.
Good.
Really good stream. And you know what? I like to catch up with you every 3 or 4 months, you know, just to chill out and like talk about Hognose stuff. And, you know, since it's the breeding season, let's talk about breeding a little bit and, you know, so on and so forth. So, ask Jeff to see a lemon ghost he likes. Ask Jeff to see a lemon ghost he likes.
I'll do that. I got a nice one.
There we go. There he goes. There you go, guys. Ask and you shall receive. I will blow up the screen for you guys so you can see him. There we go. He's blown up. Jeff's going to get a nice, beautiful lemon ghost here.
All right. Now, this isn't just a lemon ghost. This has... Oh, fuck that glove.
By the way, guys, on your way out here, smash that like button on this video. Smash it right now. Get those likes up. I would appreciate it. If you like the stream, hit that button. Oh, my God. Look at that thing.
Oh, where do we got that?
Oh, my God, dude. Look at that yellow on that. Oh, my God, dude. That is lemon beyond belief, dude. Holy crap, dude.
It's got purple line / extreme, a little bit of extreme red lineage in her as well.
See that
and
yellow?
She's, of course, a Woma.
And she's a Woma, too?
Yep.
Holy crap. And it's female, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can see it. Oh, my God. What's her eye color? By the way, I can't see it.
Normal.
Normal? Okay.
Yeah, her eyes are pretty much just like, you know, her iris is kind of like that standard kind of amberish brown.
Like amberish brown, yeah. Oh, my God. Look at that yellow, guys. It's amazing.
And her belly's got a lot of black on it, but there's a, you know,
you produced
definitely some yellow distortion.
You produced Arctics with this or no?
Not really. I don't really have much Arctic in my lemon ghost stuff because Arctic takes away from yellow. I do have a few things with it. It's definitely not like if I have like with like my lemon ghost projects, the goal is to not do too many with Arctic. There are some things I'm doing with Arctic because they make sense to me, but I'm not doing Arctic with...
Oh my God, that lemon is amazing, dude, isn't it, guys?
Good, you know, with the majority of them, that's for sure.
That lemon is amazing. Holy crap. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man.
Yeah, these ones
That's
you're
a pretty
looking at,
snake,
these,
man. That's a pretty hognose, man. Holy crap.
These are over 80% lemon ghosts. So if you start with, it depends on the lemon ghost you start with. If you start with like one of like the best ones and you do some out crossings and you get bred back in and you get like high percent like that, 80%ers, some of those are like as yellow as my pure OGs or even more so.
So what happens if I do produce ghost? Is that good for me, I guess? Ghost?
Well, ghost and lemon ghost is different.
Well, ghost, can I mix that or no? Or try to mix it?
Well, ghost, just what people refer to as just standard ghost, is hypo and xanthic.
And xanthic, yeah.
Double recessive.
Yeah.
So that's what's Evans hypo / Dutch hypo. They're the same hypo. You know, xanthic, double visual. But my you know, lemon ghost, I named them lemon ghost before ghosts existed. The code name for that project existed for years before somebody made a double visual hypoxanthic.
I would like to produce ghost this year. I hope I do. Hopefully she got in there or he got in there locked up. I'd like to produce some ghost this year. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you very much, Jeff Galewood. Jeff of the Galewoods. You're the man.
Thank you.
Guys, I love talking to Jeff. He's very knowledgeable. He's great. Joe helped me edit videos. I have no idea how. You're welcome, Trent. Doesn't make sense for a lemon ghost. I don't know, man. Jeff, thank you very much, man. You're the man. Go finish your.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no. Thanks for you joining, man. Appreciate it, man. You're the man, dude. So, we do this, guys, like every 3 to 4 months with me and Jeff Galewood. We try to get together once every 3 or 4 months and chill and talk about new things and breeding and all that stuff from brumation. I think the last video was about. And thanks, guys, for joining. Love you guys. Man, 80 people through the room, dude. We still have 18 people. We topped out 32. Awesome. All All right, Jeff. You have a good night there, my friend. All right, he's out. He broke up. He broke up at the end, guys, there. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Bobby Evans, you're welcome. Trent, everybody, Jared, all you guys, Shane, Anthony, thank you guys. I appreciate it. AJ Hernandez, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Much love to you guys. Thank you very much for joining. I'm out of here. Have a nice night. I will see you in the next video, as usual. Cheers. Be good, guys.